two, one. And we are live. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Quentin Anderson. This is Real Time Talk with Eagle 3D Streaming. Today on the show, we have Mel Lim. She is the founder and CEO of Chateauz. And Mel is a global multimedia technology storyteller, an innovation strategist, and an entrepreneur with 25 plus years of experience in architecture, product design, and technology. Mel, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
So,
Thank you for having me.
yes, thank you for taking the time to join us today. I know you have a very expansive and very cool career. It would be great to just kind of share with us how you got to where you are today. What's the story of Mel?
Okay, I'll give you the short version.
Okay.
My career started in architecture. I came here in '97, went to art school. I actually put myself throughout art school because of some economic crisis back in Asia. And then Bill Clinton granted work permits for international students, and I was so happy to be granted. And I was able to get jobs as an intern um, at some really amazing architecture firm. So my career started when I was 19. And then I started designing hotels, casinos, stadiums, retail centers for about 7 to 8 years, and then moved into product design in 2003, um, where I had my own product line. I took a bunch of greeting cards to a trade show. I sold $50,000 worth of greeting cards.
Awesome.
When you print it from an Epson printer. I cut it out. I just
Oh,
did
cool.
I had like 8 greeting cards. And I built out my own booth because I'm an architecture. I can build out my own shit, right? So I so fancy my booth, and then I sold 50,000 worth of greeting cards. Can you believe that? And they're all like little prototypes, right? And then I came back and I'm like, oh shit, this is a business now. I got to actually fulfill the orders because I want to charge people's credit card now. And it turned into a big business. I grew that business. Got into I think over 500 retailers in less than a year. I
Whoa.
was selling door to door. Yeah, I was like a
Awesome.
traveling salesperson. I would design a bunch of stuff and I'll put it in my little suitcase. I'll literally go around and across the nation, like just, stop in Chicago, stop in New York, and I would do trade shows. And this was back in 2003, no social media. And I learned really about business, about retail business, manufacturing, import, export in a very short amount of time. It was fucking stressful, I have to say. But it gave me a lot of insights into running a manufacturing business. And in 2005 or so or six, I met two guys from Berkeley in the software business, and I got into tech, and I helped them grow their company. And then Comcast started using that particular software, and then I said, "We love what you did for that company, and then can you come and help us?" So I consulted with Comcast in the product UX and UI design space, help them develop and launch a bunch of experiences at CES. And then in 2010 or so, a cybersecurity company came and they wanted us to help them with, rebranding, remessaging, redesigning some of their product UX and UI. And I've been, they've been my client ever since 2010. And with them, it was really interesting because my role shifted from product design to marketing to helping their sales team, and then now I work exclusively with the C-suite team. And it was fun because they would give me the the ability to leverage technology to help them in all sorts of capacity. Like, how do we leverage this technology to help, tighten the sales cycle, like, tell a better story, or, help with an event and help vendor days, investor relations day. And it was always surrounding some kind of tool or tech to enable the experience to happen and then scale it.
Hmm.
And so one year we were leveraging XR, and we've been using XR or VR AR combination of that for about 8 years. And one year we expanded it into the metaverse. And this was before all the hype, right? We were building out uh, seven of their global offices in the metaverse, and that experience really eye-opening for us because, as you know, 3, 4 years ago, there's a handful of players, technology platform players
Right.
that are able to do what we want them to do, which is like host a 2,000 plus people event, and have it, high fidelity, compliant with, enterprise data and privacy, a whole set of data privacy compliance things that most technology players weren't even ready for that, right? For enterprise solution. So we had gone through all these things testing. I mean, I really went in and built on like Roblox and Unity and Unreal and build out all these different spaces. And as you do that, you learn all the pros and cons from each platform, and
Mm-hmm.
you work with all these players, and then you learn. People say that they could do something, and they may not be able to do something, and that was, on the agency side, you realize, wow, this is a lot of money that this enterprise is putting in to build out an experience for their team. And there's no guarantee that these platform players are going to be able to deliver. And then even after we had launched that experience, and it was really successful, we onboarded over 2,000 plus um, employees into the experience, and trained 1,000 people to
Wow.
use the
Wow.
Oculus headset.
Wow.
I mean, and we did all that in a very short amount of time because it was a holiday gift, and we couldn't tell employees that, hey, we're sending you the Oculus, and so we had to figure out a way to do that in a very short amount of time from the moment they received the device, and then go, hey, let's do training. Let's figure out how to get you onboarded, and then set up your avatar, and then go into the space. So we had to create multiple events, like happy hour events, make it fun and exciting. And we realized that in terms of human behavior, the first 10 minutes is always a clusterfuck, right? Because it's like, oh my God, I set up an avatar. Oh my God, this is amazing. Where am I going? Can I go up to my coworker and touch him or her? And you're like, no,
You're right.
let's not do that. And then so you learn from these things, right? Like for corporation, you have to set up a code of conduct
Right. Of
for
course.
an XR experience. It's just like Zoom. Please
Of
don't show
course.
up, in your pajamas, right?
Right.
Same thing in XR. Like, please don't come and touch your coworker, or go up to him or her, like in their face, like give them like a radius of 3 meter, like radius, like respect their privacy. Those are the things that you observe. Then you observe that people, when they go into these experiences, their behaviors change. Like, we didn't know that, more than 50% of these people are gamers. So they hop on and they're like, it's gamers, right? I mean, and mind you, this is a cybersecurity company. Anyway, so they get excited and they're like, "Wow, we've been ga- I'm a gamer in my life. Whole life, this is fun." Like they go, and then you realize that these are the great people that you would recruit as ambassadors,
Mm.
and then so that they can then in turn train their employees. Oh my God, I need to turn my thing to do not disturb so that all the pings don't come in.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then from there you learn that what you think is not necessarily what people want. So we
Mm.
had executives to come, hey, we need to build out more of these spaces, more of that spaces.
Mm.
But what we realized is I would go back to these executives and say, actually, these spaces that are doing really well are like the more casual spaces, like a bar or like a hangout, like with some interaction, and not
Right.
necessarily an auditorium. Please don't build another auditorium, right?
Right.
But you can say that because we plant like a bunch of my team members to do ethnography, right, to observe the
Mm-hmm.
behavioral and all of that stuff.
Mm.
And then I went back to the executives and I pretty much said, like, there's a better way to do this. Number one, not a lot of enterprise out there are into innovation, and maybe they are, and they may not have the budget to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So there has to be a better way to do it because you and I talk about that before this call. As an agency, of course, I would love to build out all these spaces and bill my customers because an agency model is bill more, have more people on the team, you make more money.
Right.
But for a technology standpoint, it's not necessarily good to it's not a scalable thing, right? Because you keep on having to build from ground up. So
Exactly.
I went back to my customer and I essentially said, like one of the executives, and I said, I have a better idea of doing this, and then I was able to get them to agree to join Chateauz as
Mm-hmm.
my advisors today, and it was really great, and they became my angel investors and my advisors, and we kicked off Chateauz, and we started looking at three critical things. Adoption is seriously a pain point for
Right.
enterprise.
Right.
Too many platforms out there. They
Mm.
don't know which platform to choose. They don't know which platform to choose because they don't know what use case would be best for which platform and vice versa.
Mm.
So we always play business use cases first. And then that way we can measure at the end of the day if leveraging XR is going to help with two tangible outcomes for enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
Are we making money
Mm-hmm.
or are we saving money?
Right.
So those are the two things. You and I are business owners. We know that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So are we making money doing this or are we saving money doing this by leveraging this technology? And for enterprise, it's at scale. They ask this question every day. So for us at Chateauz is first thing we did was we built out a recommendation engine, and I can do a screen share if you want later
Let's
on, and
do
I
it.
can show you.
All right. If now's the time, let's go ahead and go for it.
Okay, so I am gonna share my screen, and I can show you guys. You can see this? Yes.
Yes. Yes, it's coming
Okay.
through.
Okay. So we place use cases first, and we want to be able to help um, you coming in from different industries, and you may come in from like a luxury fashion or hospitality or tech company. Let's go with luxury fashion. And then you may want to, oh, hold on. These are some of the top use cases. We want a product visualized. We want to have brand collaboration. We want it for future of work, let's say, or dreamscape. And then with us, we have our properties built out on different platforms, including Unity, Unreal, on Spatial, on several other web-based metaverse platforms. And for each of these properties, we can customize the experience for you. And these are high fidelity, really beautiful spaces where you can have all sorts of brand activations. Like this one, we have built on our own platform, which is on Unreal Engine, which is hosted on Eagle Stream, and we have also built it out on Spatial, right? And the reason why we're doing this is we have already figured out which platform would be best suited for your type of use case. So,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, a car company we were talking to, and they're like insisting on using a particular platform. And I said to them, look if you want your car to look like your car, which has all these reflective, shiny surfaces, can't build it on this platform because
Right.
they don't render it that way.
Right.
Right? You and I know
Exactly.
that.
Yes.
And I said, if you are willing to sacrifice that look and go for a more, like matte look, right? But
Mm-hmm.
lose all that high fidelity, then go for it. That's fine. If your use case is your intention is to get a 10 million eyeballs on it, then that's great. But if you want to be reflective of your brand experience, here's a small set of like platforms that can enable to do that. And I usually recommend the Unreal Engine because it can render beautiful shiny surfaces, that it can have all these things that we can program for your car door to open and do all that stuff for you, right? So it limits it we automatically will go through all of that with them because we have already gone through all these sets of questions in the last 10 years, and we have built it in the recommendation engine to streamline it. So, of course, once you select it and all of that,
Well, or do you mind if I ask a question here? So, when we're talking about business use cases, it sounds like that's the first thing that you start with is what's the business use
yeah,
case? Why
yeah.
are we seeing, in some of the business use cases an inclination towards, these high fidelity experiences? Like, why is that usually part of the use case? Just based on your experience and the things that you've heard from your enterprise clients.
So, why is the high fidelity necessary for
Yes.
some of these use cases?
Yes.
So I think it's dependent on the intention or the business outcome that they want.
Mm,
We have had conversations with a lot of luxury brands, and they would tell us like, "Hey, if you're gonna build us something and our product is not gonna look like what it's gonna look like, that's a fail for us."
right.
I mean, and then some would be telling us, "We just want to go to Roblox because we want to have the eyeballs. We don't care if our product looks a round thing will look like a multifaceted polygon. We don't care about that now. We just want it to get the eyeballs." And I'll say, okay, let's do an experience in Roblox. But if you really want your leather bag to look like your leather bag, right, with all the crocodile detailing that you want, then I would have to insist on us building out on Unreal Engine for you. And then that way we can preserve that experience. And not only that, first time, no, we didn't measure. But we did get the basic data set that we had like, millions of eyeballs on it. That kind of data is on a surface level, okay? Like it's all great, you had millions of eyeballs, but
Right.
you can't
Yeah.
use that data to recreate a second experience, right? It's a lack of understanding of why it was successful, what was it meant for, and the second time when you build it, dumping more money in is not necessarily going to help you recreate the first success. So we have found that essentially at the end of the day, for any enterprise or brands to scale visual computing experiences, they need data. They
Mm,
need contextual data. They need user behavioral data. They need enriched data so that they know what to show more of, what to recommend the users, where to position things. Um, and that's what we're building at Chateau.
yeah, and so Chateaus extends beyond just the experiences themselves. It is understanding, first of all, that these are some of the use cases that we can expect or we're familiar with, and we have the analytics, or we have the first of all know-how and the capability of capturing the analytics that actually matters. It's not just about how many people viewed the experience.
Yes, yeah, it's so basic, right? It's just like very like that's like dense data that you don't even think about, and you have all this quantitative data. It's fine. Like I'm not poo-pooing on the existing folks that are doing, are trying to help brands understand what people are doing in their spaces.
Right.
We would just want to take it to the next level of like, for us, we want to build out not only like whenever I open this, Quentin, and I hope that your audience can see this.
Yes.
Whenever I open this, everyone goes, "Wow, we didn't expect it to look so like
I
beautiful." And I'm
know.
like, and then I go, "Yes, it can be this beautiful for your brand. You don't have to settle for less. With today's technology, you can, right? I mean, talk to me 10 years ago, it was really hard, but
Right.
look at it, and that was one of the things when looking for, and maybe this is a good segue to talk about, and I can show the folks what we have built out and hosted on your platform here. Um,
Yeah, and
and
just
and
mhm.
and even like choosing the right platform to host our spaces, right? Quentin, and you and I had talked about this candidly. It's like, oh,
Right.
hold on, reestablish connection. There you go. It's getting into it's finding a streaming company that can do what we want them to do, and I love that you and I had talked openly about some of the challenges of us wanting you to do so much for us.
I know. I know. We're always in a phase of trying to keep up with the requirements of all these cool experiences.
Yeah, and one of them is the AI piece, which we can show the audience, and we laugh about it.
Okay. Cool.
Hold on, I think I got logged out and I have to log back in.
Okay.
This this is gonna work. Okay, yeah, it's working. Okay, so to the audience earlier when I was this is one of our spaces. This is the Lily, and I know that I had tried out. Okay, so we have integrated an AI smart AI concierge into all of our builds, right? And we were demoing this, and last week it was working perfectly. And today when I logged in, I'm like, why is Lilu not chatting with me? And then I was talking to Quinton earlier. I said,
Right.
one of you guys must have done some updates.
Right.
And I had to figure out who's done update and why is it not syncing. So to the audience, just so you know, integrating something like this, it's not like an easy thing, right? It's like I have to figure out, do I want to write my own AI, NPC for this, or do I
Mhm.
want to use an existing partner for this? And then and I can someone like Eagle Stream integrate, and stream this for me effectively. And in this scenario, we are using InWorld, which is our tech partner, and then we have Eagle Stream, and then we have AWS, and of course we have Unreal Engine.
Right.
So to integrate all this, it's not like, oh, just turn it on now. No, it took us weeks to build something, to do the integration, and then to talk to all these tech partners to tell them what we want to do with their tech.
Mhm.
And it was interesting because even talking to InWorld, they were like, oh, only for like one player, not multiplayer yet. And we're like, oh, fuck. And then
I
so
know.
then my team has to go figure out like, okay, can we do this multiplayer? Yes, Mel, but we have to do this, and this. And then talking to the streaming folks, can you guys help us enable this? And it's like, oh yes. And then do the integration. So to the audience, something, someone updated something today. And I have to go figure out who updated something because I was
Right.
trying to chat with Lena today and she's not giving me an answer.
Right.
Um, so it is that. I mean, I talk to my team all the time and they're like, Mel, this is all very cutting edge tech companies that you're trying to do an integration with and be patient, okay? And I'm like, no,
Mhm.
I want it working now.
Right. Right. Yeah. I know that's always kind of the fun and the challenging thing about being cutting edge is there's always going to be things that have to be kind of worked through and resolved.
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
concept is there. We have an
The
AI
concept, yes,
yes.
yes. But it's like even with the AI integration, it was really interesting. And I work with a bunch of male engineers. So
Hmm.
this was very fascinating because when we first tested out Lilu, in the first couple of weeks, I started chatting with Lilu, asking her all sorts of questions, and I realized that my gosh, why is she so damn flirty? Like I need to tone down the flirtiness. Like,
Right. Engineers are
you
spending
guys
too much time in the experience.
better. Oh no, she didn't sound professional. This is a professional platform, guys. And then I realized that it was a whole other set of all these different configurations that I had to do, to train Lilu, right, to
Right.
respond the way I want her to respond. And so there's a whole set of common knowledge base, that I have to set up for her, and then I have to set up the voice and tone,
Right.
and then to really enable that streaming to happen effectively. And it was training the model, right? Training like, hey, please don't talk like that. Thumbs down, thumbs down. like,
Right.
like
Yeah.
give me, like set it to 20 words answer. Please don't give me a whole lifetime story here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but the build, some of the technical things were making sure that we are able to, um, stream sound, and we wanted to create, we were working with a luxury audio company, and we wanted to create spatial audio that we are able to stream different types of music in different spaces. So we wanted to show them our functionality of doing that. And then we can even set the mood. Hold on, let me show you the mood. This is a daytime scene. This is the evening scene. And this is a
How
nighttime
cool is
scene.
that? It
And we
sounds
wanted,
great.
yeah, and we wanted to create like, hey, you don't have to rebuild the spaces each time.
Right.
A little bit of configuration, setting the tone differently, the spatial tone differently. You can create a different feeling for your audience.
Right.
So you can have a daytime if you want it to be more business-like, have presentations in here, or if you want to have a happy hour, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then of course, I have to have my Austin Martin in the
Of
space,
course.
but of course, and then I want to be able to also show, like, talk about using it for different reasons. Hold on. So this is the upstairs.
Oh, cool.
And we have, we wanted to show that you can have fashion events here. You can have your avatar dressed up and walk down the runway. But we wanted to show you can create or preset the space. Now this is a whole Christmas-like space that we had set up.
Hmm.
Like if you wanted to have a holiday event in here,
Cool.
um, we then, and then friends get excited, right? They're like, oh, how much is this going to cost us? I said, no, this is not, like I said, we're not an agency. We are a tech company. So this is all pre-configured and we want you to be able to get up and running in days or weeks instead of 6 to 9 months out.
Absolutely.
We want to get you just play with it, right? And then customize it quickly and then learn what works, what's not working and why, and then reiterate. Well, I'm trying to train my customers to think like a tech company.
I know. And I mean, your customers probably, how's the response been? They probably are excited that, it'll take me 2 weeks to get this up and running rather than,
Yes, 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 and that's what we want. And I wanted to show another thing here. Hold on. I wanted to show that the same space, um, we converted it into a retail experience. And then we wanted to show. You can see my screen, right, Quentin?
yes. Yes.
And we wanted to show that with the same environment, it can be fully turned into a immersive e-commerce event or space or what we call i-commerce. We can configure it, and then we can, like you said, EagleStream is able to integrate to existing sites, integrate into existing shopping experience like Shopify, Magento, and we wanted to show to the brands. And so we produced this 60-second video, which I will play.
Cool.
Same exact space. And essentially for this use case, we want to show brands can have better experience. That's a little snippet of a 60-second teaser.
Well, I mean, it's beautiful. Obviously, your team has extremely good taste, and the technology is very smart and sharp. Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
so we've already run up until the half hour. Uh, so, Mel, I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today and share everything about Chateauz. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to be playing a small part
Thank
in your
you.
product.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for always your support team has been
Yes,
very, very good to us. Thank you
of
for being so
course.
patient with us.
Of course, of course. Before we go, any last comments, thoughts, how to reach you, just in case? Anything you'd like to share before we sign off?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just search for Mel Lim or search for Chateauz. We will be posting a lot of XR blueprints in the coming weeks
Okay.
because our goal is to get enterprise and brands up and running quickly.
Hmm.
Uh, we don't want you to waste time, and we want you to or resources. We want you to be able to get up and running quickly and just do this because the more the customers ask for certain features, the more innovation happens,
Right.
right? And you and I talk about this. Then I can come back to you and say, Quentin, we really need to activate this or build this out. Either
Right.
you do this or I do this, right? Either way, we
Right.
want to make this happen.
Hmm.
And that's how innovation is gonna move forward. If it's getting the customers to have this big dream of what they want, and then for us to figure out can we do it, and
Hmm.
most likely we can build it. Um, So that's where we're at.
And clearly your team has made tremendous progress and strides to that.
Uh, Thank you, thank you. That's because we're fanatics and we're obsessed. And even when the customers don't want the features, and we're like, "Oh, would it be cool to have this?"
It's the only way to do it, right? It's a labor of love.
Yes, yes, and that's why we're around.
Yes, darn right.
That's
Well, Mel, thank you so much for your time today. Let's stay in touch. I really enjoy our conversations that I have with you.
Thank you.
And if you need any help, just let us know.
Okay, thank you so much, Quentin. Thank you so much for your team.
Yes, thank you, everyone. All
Okay,
right.
bye.
See you next show. Bye, everyone.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye. And we are off the air.